So before my dad came to North America, he was practicing to become a priest. In some cultures, it is widely believed that a priest should also learn about and perform exorcisms. It's a very old world thing, but still a very prevalent thing. My grandfather used to perform them, and so did my great-grandfather. My dad had told me some of his stories. They're pretty fascinating. I grew up in a heavy Catholic household, but I'm not very religious. I'd like to believe in ghosts, but I've never seen one. So naturally, when my dad told his stories, I was sort of skeptical. The one thing my dad likes to hammer in is that I take after him. He believes I have a gift like him. He used to tell me he was so successful with exorcisms because he has like a sixth sense and can feel, hear, and touch the supernatural. He can sort of understand them. I, on the other hand, can't do that. My weird gift is being able to dream about things vividly and have them happen soon right after. It feels like déjà vu, but I know what is about to happen. I know it's more common than people think, so I don't really pay much mind to it. One day, when I was about 14, my dad received a phone call. It was an acquaintance who knew of my dad and his work back home. Mind you, my dad had now become a therapist, kind of the opposite of a priest in my mind, and hadn't done an exorcism in probably a decade that I know of. Side note, my dad has also been liberal with parenting. My mom was a nurse and always working, so we spent a lot of time with him, and between me and my two other sisters, it was a free-for-all. If my mom was there, she would have told my dad no way. So my dad takes the phone call, agrees to the job, and then looks at me. He announced I'll be joining because I have his gift, and wants me to understand what he does. Fine, I thought. And we pull up to this big house in a more affluent neighborhood in our city, and I already feel sick to my stomach. I can't explain the feeling. It's like the moment we drive into the driveway, I was nauseous and panicked. For no reason. It was a normal house, nothing out of the ordinary. I told my dad how I was feeling, and he quietly told me that we were going to go inside. There was a couple in their mid-40s that lived in that house. They had no children, just the both of them. The husband opened the door, and the first thing I noticed was the bags under his eyes. Second thing I noticed was that the house had no lights on inside. After we entered, I felt like the air in the house was being sucked out of my lungs. I don't know, like if you put your mouth to a low-setting vacuum. It was really weird, I know. I've never felt that way before. My dad sets up a little shrine in their living room and prayed to it. Then him and the husband went upstairs to see his wife. For some stupid reason, they left me alone downstairs in the den. So it's dark because their lights aren't on and I'm sitting on their couch. I suddenly feel like what would be fingers poking in my back, like viciously, like people with long fingernails just jabbing my back to get my attention. Now, I'm on a couch that is against the wall, so my deduction is, how can this even be happening? Naturally, I'm too afraid to look, so I just get up and walk straight out of the room without looking back. I walk into the kitchen and I can feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I feel as though there are people behind me, talking softly as not to disturb me. It sounds like two men and a woman are speaking, but my dad and the couple are upstairs and it doesn't sound like them anyways. I'm too scared to move and I just stare at the fridge for what seems like an eternity. My dad comes back downstairs after a while and I tell him what happened. He was sympathetic and told me to pray as he brought me back upstairs with him, and I was too scared to be left alone. He brings me into the master bedroom of the house and I see the wife for the first time. She looks small and fragile, laying in a 4-post king-size bed. The curtains are all drawn and the only light is coming from the candles my dad has lit. She doesn't acknowledge me. Her husband sits in a corner of the room, quiet. My dad places me in a chair next to the husband and we watch my dad together. He's praying over the wife's body and she suddenly sits up in bed, screaming. The curtains in the room all fly open at once, and my dad and whatever is left of this lady are just staring at each other, eye to eye. The husband, in a panic, basically scoops me up and carries me out of the room. I stand in the hallway as he goes back into his wife and my father. After seeing that, and experiencing what I did downstairs, I'm just trying not to absolutely soil my pants, and angry at my father for thinking it was a good idea to bring a kid to these. I don't feel alone in the hallway, so I basically just sit down on the ground and try to think of being somewhere else. My dad eventually comes out of the room and he doesn't talk. He doesn't really say anything to the husband, only whispered instructions, and we left. I didn't see the lady again after that. My mom was livid at my father that day for bringing me along. I mean, it was irresponsible, and I'd like to think of myself as less of a skeptic. To this day, I'm not even sure what I experienced myself. My dad hasn't done an exorcism since.